Okay, so thanks for this. It was amazing. Your stuff. It will be hard to follow. So what I'm bringing here today is a little bit of a personal ride, a personal journey that I feel that can be both for artists and for scientists. We can identify about. I'm going to talk about acceptance, rejection, doubts, and confidence. But before that, before I start, let me just tell you a little bit about me, about my journey so far. So first, I started my job as a scientific illustrator and designer just after my PhD. I did my PhD in Lisbon in the Champalimaud Foundation. And while I was doing my PhD, I was part of a collective of people, mostly students and postdocs, that were doing some public outreach events. And these events, they were talks, and for the white audience, they needed to be publicized. And I was preparing posters for them. I was doing this before, during my let's say bachelor's time during my university. I started doing some illustration on a theater company. So I guess I nurtured a little bit of my parallel interests, always in parallel with whatever I was doing, that allowed me then to, when I finished my PhD, I was offered to stay in the science communication office team as the visual communicator. I stayed there in this institute that has a really nice view to the sea and to the really nice golden sunsets. Then I moved from there to work in a team that did an exhibit about the brain in the Gulbenkian Foundation that has, among other really nice things, a really cool green garden. For personal reasons, then I moved to Belgium, where I freelanced in the beginning, and then I joined the corporate world. Something totally different from what I was doing until then. I was working in a medical communication team, and we were preparing mostly graphical abstracts, diagrams, figures for publications. And here, when I searched on the internet for the place that I was working on, I realized, okay, this was very much gray. Then I moved to Coimbra, where I'm now. Coimbra is in the center of Portugal. I'm working from home mostly, and my current biggest job and almost a sole job is to work as an art director for a textbook for neuroscience, which has been going on for a long time. So I'm art director of the principles of neuroscience. It's 66 chapters. I'm doing the figures for them, working with a lot of different cool scientists and science. And at the same time, since at least 2019, I've been doing freelancing from home. Even when I was working the other places, I was working at night, at least doing freelance for places where I thought it was actually over the world. But when I actually created this little Google Earth presentation of the places that I work in, I realized that my work has been solely on the North Hemisphere. And this is one of the things that this presentation made me actually, think about my future work, is that I would like to, go down below the Tropic of Cancer if possible in my next few projects. Now, let's just jump to acceptance, the first of these four different chapters of the talk. So all over I mean, during this entire work that I showed you so far, the different places that I was in, I was building up different types of materials and generating a lot of, let's say, self-acceptance. People were liking what I was doing, and that was actually because of that I was kind of hired to different multiple places, and I was growing as confident, let's say, as a designer and illustrator, because my background is in biology and neurosciences. But there's one place that I want to focus on, which is this cover design. Philip already introduced you to the concept. I don't know if everyone knows, but during the publication process, once an article is accepted by the editors, sometimes the editors ask if you'd be interested to publish a cover, depending on the journal. And many scientists actually hire an illustrator to do those. So these are these editorial illustrations, which are, like Philip also said, metaphors of the work that was done so far. This is actually my first attempt of a cover proposal, and it was actually my first acceptance. It was very special to me because it was done for the work of a postdoc that was very, important during my PhD program. Particularly this one was, the research was about neural activity in two different types of structures of the brain, where in one part, the most top part, you'd have an activity which is, let's say, more probabilistic. So that's why you see the dices that are being thrown there. They are mostly very different, like they are normal dices, so all the points there are different. And then on the frontal part, the activity was deterministic, so that's all the dices there are kind of with the same number. This was the concept that was very fun to create with, and I created this one particular one because I was interested in isometric art at that time. And then other accepted covers followed. You can see a bunch of them, always based on like these little histories that convey the message of what the site was all about. Some of them are related to different types of artists. So I have on the left side something that relates to Degas for a work on Drosophila. On the right side, something that is close to the style of Vermeer. And during my career, I have a bunch of these accepted covers, which is very nice. Whenever you get this acceptance email, someone tells you actually your cover was accepted after all this hard work. It feels very nice for you as an artist, but also for the client, the scientist. But then there's another part of the story that I actually just realized when I was creating all this talk. I got together all my covers because I'm very bad at portfolio. So I know I got a little bit of time just to put the portfolio out there, and I realized that actually 80% of my covers never see the light of day. And this is all of them. So there's a bunch of them. They're all kind of different. Some of them I can see that the style was reaching. I'm very bad at concatenating at a particular style because I like to explore, and a lot of them have can show me where I was at that particular time. I'm gonna just show you four that I like. There's other ones that I like. Just bear in mind that they never serve any other purpose. They were produced, they were sent to the magazine. They said they didn't want it, and that was it. I just found them now on my folders. So, for instance, this piece is a cover that I prepared for the lab of Tim Behrens, and this was a very computational heavy work about the activity, about like a theoretical framework that relates space and relational memory. So how do all these things relate? It was very fun to me to create this because it was very, let's say, challenging to go through what the researchers actually did, try to understand, really fun conversations with them, and then I tried to convey this idea of like a detective office that has this machine, and the machine is in actually the framework, the theoretical framework that they produce. They call them the Tolman-Eichenbaum machine. So there's this machine sitting in this office. And this machine is computing a Cluedo or a clue game. So who killed whom on where? So there I designed some of the people that you see there are actually mathematicians, and I put a little rodent tweaking. And I was really keen and really I really like this cover. This cover, it's another cover now for a work that relates the temperature. It's about a technique of that could cool down or heat up the brain, a particular part of the brain that kind of messed up the judgment of timing. So you have here homage to Magritte. Again, it was, for me, technically, it was very hard and strenuous to do because I'm not a trained artist. And again, like, it got rejected. In here, I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to have fun with colors, with Escher, with a mouse. This is this is about a foraging task. So rodents have to go to different places looking for water, and different types of algorithms that make actually the shape of the plateaus that you see there. And here it's a totally different color cover, where actually the researcher told me, my work is about, I can see the picture. So the researcher gave me the picture. It's about like this river, two river streams that unite and form the same river. So this is about excitatory and inhibitory neurons that converge into the dopamine neurons to then give a given signal. None of them were selected, as 80% that you've seen. And this brings me always a lot of doubt. And here's just, I just put here some of the text that I wrote related to this. First, there's a lot about, the imposter syndrome. And why do I normally dislike these color covers that are selected, but enjoy the ones that are not selected? It's a very weird thing. And then every image that I prepare, it comes with the memory, right? For me, it comes with the place that I was doing it, with the sound that I was listening to, the references and the struggles. Then there's this idea that I encountered actually last, and one of the covers that I did, that sometimes there's that people actually don't know how to interact with the person that is doing the cover. And I had this experience where I was being guided, sort of as someone who is writing a prompt in this generative AI, and this makes me the doubt: is this what it will become? Anyway, it's a little bit of struggle, and at the same time, at the end, it makes you wonder whether this is what is this for? It's a lot of time wasted, can be a lot of money wasted, because most of them are not selected by the authors, and who's paying is actually the same people that are paying to get their works published in almost this corporate predatory world. Puts you in perspective, right? But at the same time, if I think that the rejected covers are never to be used again, maybe because they lost their purpose, maybe losing this purpose, it's important. So this realization gave me a little bit of confidence again. And I started, what I did for this talk particularly was I just removed all the logos from my cover art. And so I started looking at these illustrations as I've never looked at them before. And it makes me wonder whether, maybe I can do something about this. Maybe I can make an exhibit about this. Maybe I can print them and give them to people. I don't know. But maybe whenever something loses their initial purpose, it becomes a little bit more precious, because then they can be whatever they want. So what am I now, and what I want to do now? I don't know if I want to do covers anymore, because of all this doubt, all this struggle. There's a lot of things that I know that I don't struggle that much, and I feel very confident about undoing. One is, this book that I'm doing. It's a great endeavor, and not only the book, but the things that I'm doing. There are diagrams, and diagrams can be done for research articles and grant applications. And I think science at this moment, it's a bit scary what's going on, and not only I think the science to the public needs to be connected, but actually science itself, inside the communication between scientists, it needs to be nurtured. And another challenge when talking to communicating science to the public is actually putting the diagrams in the space itself. So the physical space is something that we could use, because it's undoubtedly there and not swayed away in the digital fog. So that's my perspectives, my take. I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'm going to introduce the next speakers. Thank you for listening to me. So.